retail space. Do you expect Walmart to do well going into this report?
Yeah, we do. All of our data is pretty positive for Walmart. I don't think that's a big surprise, though. Looking at the stock, set a pretty high bar here, like you said, near all-time highs, up 37% in the past year. That really means that expectations, are baking in some really strong comps, digital growth, and tariff resilience, which, we think Walmart has all three of those. LikeFolio data is pretty clear. Web visits are up 17% year over year, which is outpacing Costco and Amazon, only short of Target, who put together a pretty good report. If you dive into the nuts and bolts of what Target put out there, the one thing that slammed the stock was that they promoted a CEO from inside. If they'd have gotten an external CEO, I think we would have had a much different reaction to their earnings. And so, our data is strong on Walmart. The digital side of things seems to be going extremely well. Is now profitable. They've turned their delivery routes, made them much more dense, and really figured out the logistics on how to make that a profitable unit of their business and get cash flow out of that. So, going in this report, we think, obviously forward guidance will be the key, but they're going to post very good numbers, and we don't see any reason why they wouldn't have an optimistic outlook. In the land of haves and have-nots in the retail space, Walmart continues to be very much a very strong have.
Andy, they're looking for $176 billion in revenue. No, that's not for a year or 5 years. That's for 90 days. $176 billion in revenue. And Andy, I think this discussion that we're having is important because big box retail that used to include four, right? It used to include Walmart. It used to include Costco, it used to include Target, and then Amazon worked its way in from the e-commerce side. Now it's really three players, right? It's Amazon, Walmart, Costco. Target has just failed to find their role in this. And you're right, I think they had a chance for a relief rally here that didn't happen because another example of pilot error by Target, which is hiring someone from within. Now, that said, getting to Walmart, 50%, as much as 60% of their revenue now comes from grocery. I think that's why Amazon pivoted with same-day grocery, fresh grocery that they're now delivering. This two major players, along with Costco, it's only getting better. And the beneficiary is the consumer, right? But what does that do? This group of four, Andy, now seems like it's only three.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's almost, Target almost just took itself out of the equation. It's just been error after error. And then now for Wall Street to see that they're going to double down kind of on this losing mentality, this losing strategy, when their customer base has spoken very clearly. I mean, I can still remember, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, when my wife and her peer group, who could not have been the more the more typical Target consumer, decided that they'd had enough with Target and they were going to start going to Walmart. I mean, my head almost spun right off of my neck. I couldn't believe what I was hearing from these ladies, and it was a nationwide trend, and it's absolutely stuck. And to see Target say, we want more of the same, is kind of an unbelievable thing for us to be witnessing. And then on the flip side, the topics, Walmart, they're winning in every category that you can win in. They were slow to get to e-commerce, but now they're doing it in terms of brick and mortar stores by far better than anybody else. They're slow to get into ad sales. Now they're doing, 31% up. Memberships are double-digit growth. They're pretty insulated from tariffs because of, like you said, the grocery side of things is pretty insulated. So this is just a company that knows how to win, that has winning in its DNA, and that has a lot of, body weight to throw around and pressure suppliers. in order to continue to win the customer that others don't have. So in a rising cost environment, it actually benefits Walmart because they have the best leverage with their suppliers of anybody in the world, and so they can continue to beat everybody else on price when others can. So we love Walmart. It looks like the stock is priced for perfection, but this is also a company that operates at near perfection. So we kind of like it here.
Yeah, Andy, that phenomena where everybody's going to Target, it like flipped within like a 2-year, 3-year window where everybody just stopped going there. I completely agree with you on that front. And now you've got that affluent consumer that's actually starting to go back to Walmart. They've cleaned up their stores. Maybe you don't see those meme videos online as much as you used to about the Walmart customer at this point, so maybe that's helping. But I started looking at valuations, Andy, on this one. Forward PE of about 37, 38. Historically, it's about 25, 26. So it's rich, but your data is moving up the same, trajectory that the stock price is. Is that where you get maybe that bullish momentum and outlook here?
Yeah, that is. I think it's clear that the stock is priced richly. It's also very clear that the stock deserves to be priced richly, especially when you compare it versus peers. So, this is a tough trade from an earnings perspective. I see no path where Walmart disappoints on the actual numbers. I see very little path where they disappoint on guidance. It's if we get a pullback, I think it will be purely a profit-taking, sell the news type of pullback. So that's what we're kind of positioned for here at LikeFolio is Walmart, best of breed, continue to buy on the dips until something changes.
Yep, and you've got some of the retailers that haven't been doing great, reaffirming, maybe raising guidance at this point. So you figure Walmart's going to be right in the mix on that one. All right, great stuff. As always, Andy, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, joining us, breaking down. You know what, Kevin? They've had,